Okay, let's run.
Your mission, should you choose to accept it.
It's a quest. It's a quest for fun.
Well, The Rock says, why don't we just cut right to the chase?
Okay, now he wants to get together. Well, he wants to talk.
I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
It's showtime, folks!
What are you?
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to And I Quote, the weekly show where we introduce you to creators of all shapes and sizes that join us from many and all corners of the universe, and we find out more about them by taking your questions. I am your host, Ryan of And I Quote channel, and our guest on this episode is someone who apparently can't stop talking to her own sister because she's done 24 shows in the last 2 weeks with Carissa Grant of Worthy Chaos Comics on worthychaoscomics.com. Well, please welcome the creator of Path of the Pale Rider, indie comic creator herself, and join us from her mansion in the Palisades, just like myself. Laurie Calcaterra is in the building. Hello, Laurie. How are you?
Hi. Good morning, everybody. Ryan, get out of my house.
I didn't know I was in your house. I'm sorry. It just seems that we had the same interior decorator when we move into these lovely homes.
Oh, it's a track home. It's a model home. Yeah.
It's a mixture of different things. It's a mixture of different things. It could be, but we thank you for being with us. Now, if you have any questions for Laurie Calcaterra as we go throughout the course of this episode, let us know in those comments. Let us know in the chat. Our producer is going to be monitoring it as we go throughout the course of this episode. If this is your first time here, welcome. Don't forget to like and share this with all of your closest friends. So without any further ado, Laurie, when were you introduced to the world of comics?
Oh, Lord. I started reading comics actually later than most. I was in college, and I have to say I was reading The Watchmen. Who watches The Watchmen, the graphic novel? That's kind of what interests me, is the flawed characters, the more humanized characters, that sort. Like I was reading Image Comics. I was reading Walking Dead and Saga East of West. Probably in my early 20s is when I started. I never really was interested in superheroes or those characters that are like too good to be changed. You know what I mean? So yeah, it wasn't until later until I started reading comics.
Well, fantastic. Thank you for sharing that with us. Now, what would you say are some of your favorite comic book writers or artists, past or present?
Well, I read a lot of Robert Kirkman. So I read a lot, like all his Walking Dead, and then Invincible. What's the Omega? There's 2 other ones. He writes one that's about like possession and exorcism, and then he writes this other one where they're like time warping into a different dimension. So that one's really cool too. So I've read most of his stuff. Eastman, I like Eastman. I like East of West. And I like anything that's like suspenseful, apocalypse, a little bit of horror. One that I really liked was Witches. And it's funny because I could tell you all the titles, but I can't tell you the artists on them, and I can't really tell you too much about the writers either. I read a lot of Stephen King when I was a kid. I could tell you that much. Dean Koontz, more like novels. So yeah, that's where I get kind of my influence from. Watching Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah, Saturday morning cartoons are very dark, disturbing, and encompass dismemberment.
They can be.
Yeah, it depends on who you ask.
X-Men, there's love triangles in there, and
they just came back too.
Situations, yeah.
And they just came back with X-Men 97. I haven't seen episode 2 yet, so no spoilers. But what I've seen from it so far, it's excellent. See what
it's
I did there?
Fabulous.
I think it's incredible. I didn't expect it to be that good. Even the first 30 minutes, I'm thinking.
I didn't either.
They pushed a lot of nostalgic buttons, and also the newer members of the cast, because it's a mixture of the veteran cast coming back and some new voice actors coming in to take over certain roles, because unfortunately we've lost a few over the years, which is unfortunate. But the guy who's voicing Cyclops sounds pretty much what a 30-year later version of Cyclops would sound like.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, that guy got the original voice actors like down pat.
Yes. I was really impressed with all of them. And Jean Grey, the actress that does Jean Grey's voice, is new, but the actress that did Jean Grey is actually playing that the UN contact, the blonde lady.
Oh, Dr. Cooper?
Yeah, that's
No
the old
kidding.
no, that's her. That's the
Wow.
old Jean Grey actress. That's
Yeah,
her
as
playing
Sherry
yeah.
Cooper.
Yeah.
Wow. I was not aware of that. That is a
Yeah.
fun fact for those of you watching or listening to this episode. Wow. Well, it's excellent. Can't wait to see episode 2 drop too, but I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it yet.
It's very good. It will get you in the feels.
Mhm. Yeah, and the voice actor for Magneto is very different
Fabulous.
than what I'm used to. Very, very different, but we'll see how he turns out in episode 2. I'm not
They
sure yet.
changed him a little bit. They went back to the full on you saw him in the costume, right? So it's just
Mhm.
the with the cape and the big letter M on his chest. So
Mm,
he is a slightly different version of the Magneto we're used to in the older one, but
mm.
he's accurate to comic.
Well, that's fair. And then, what is it? Lou Pons is here with us. She says, "Hi.
Hi.
What's up, Lou?" That's
Lou's
I haven't
amazing.
haven't heard that name in a while. But thank you for being with us. Gee willikers. So, outside of X-Men, what are some of your
Mhm.
favorite comic book-based movies or TV series, past or present?
Comic book series movies. Well, let's see. I like the 300, the first one, not any
Yeah,
of the
Zack
sequels that were
Snyder?
just junk.
Yeah.
Zack Snyder, of course, did great on
Mhm.
that. I really enjoyed the first season of Umbrella Academy.
Hmm.
I have watched the rest of them and they just didn't do it for me. I think that first season really caught, how strange and the momentum and the good writing and the twists and everything. But then after the first season, it kind of meanders. Um, I used to watch all the Saturday morning cartoons, Batman and the animated movies. So Mask of the Phantasm and Hush and all of those. Those are just fabulous. I really feel like DC's niche is the animated stuff that they do. It's so good. Um, Compared to kind of how they missed the mark with the live action. It's just my personal opinion. Everybody has their own about what's going on in the movies, right? Um, I love all the Marvel movies, of course. It was real big, of course, when we were in the Infinity Saga and Thanos and games, really awesome. And things have changed with the new, they call it phase. Some of it's good, some of it's not, but I'm still hoping that that Kevin Feige gets in there and kind of revamps things. It's like in the beginning when they had the Iron Man and then they had the separate Captain America and they had the separate Thor stuff and then we're all decent on their own and then when they put them together it was magic, but you had to get attached to those characters and follow their story, understand their quirks before they're when they play off each other so it makes sense and that it's funny and that that you're in the inside joke. So I felt like he was trying to do that with Shang-Chi and they're trying to get people, attached to new characters, but I just don't think it's happened. And I'm not sure if it's superhero fatigue or what. There's all those theories about that, but I still watch a lot of the Marvel stuff just to watch it. Um does it move me emotionally like the others used to? Probably not. So but what else? What other name one that we could talk about? Like Tank Girl was great.
I never
Or the
saw it.
comic book stuff. You never saw Tank Girl? That's a
No.
good one.
I don't know if I want to. Laurie, you did good for me in Point Break and A League of Their Own, 2 of the greatest of all time, but I don't know if I wanna watch Tank Girl.
It's not bad. It's not
I
bad. Good morning, Glenn.
I don't
I think it's
know.
actually
I saw
afternoon
I
in
saw a
Glenn.
movie that was similar to Tank Girl called Domino with Keira Knightley, but that didn't work out too well.
No, I don't think so.
I
But
mean, I
there's
saw it.
just a ton of stuff out there, but it's like always the first one is good, and then when they start Hollywood gets their meat hooks in there and they try to do more, and it gets Hollywoodified, then it just doesn't end up working out. Like the first Blade is classic,
That's
right?
perfection right there, isn't it?
It is,
I mean,
and
the
I mean,
blood
like, when
rave
you look
scene I
back,
mean, the blood
the
rave scene
blood rave in
alone
the
is one of the
beginning
best
was
things ever.
best openings of a movie, right?
Mhm.
Just amazing.
New Order playing in the background, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're still playing that, right? The Blade
Who
soundtrack,
Yeah.
amazing.
I think club
Um,
owners and club people around the world are
Still
playing
put
those
it on.
songs, like, every night, right? I
I
mean,
think they do.
is that true?
I would if I went no, probably not. But if
Well,
I was that club owner, I would be putting it on.
I
Dun, 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 dun,
I
dun,
know,
dun.
right? I know, and, by
It's
the
a
way,
good song.
your good
Um,
friends are in the building. Glenn says, "Laurie!"
Hi, Glenn.
Glenn says, "Ryan!"
Ryan.
Wow. And
I
look,
think he
everyone's
talks like
being
that all the
nice to
time.
each other. Lou says hi, Glenn. Glenn Fleming says Lou.
Yeah,
Um,
Tank Girl was alright, but I still remember it, that's the thing.
yeah,
There's
Lou
so
says
many
Tank
other
Girl was
comic
all right.
book stuff that's out there that it's just you don't even think about it because it's not memorable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you think about The Watchmen? Do you think they did that one
Afternoon here,
alright?
Glenn.
The
uh,
original one, not the TV series,
you
not the
talking about
HBO one.
you talk about Zack Snyder's Watchmen?
Zack Snyder's
I saw it.
Watchmen.
Here's the thing. The trailer was really intriguing because it had Smashing
Yes.
Pumpkins in the trailer, and I dug that because that reminded me of the '90s Batman movies, some of which were good, some of which not. Batman and Robin, you're terrible. But I saw Watchmen in the theater because I was curious. I'm like, I don't know anything about this story. I know nothing about these characters. Let's see what this guy's got because I didn't really like Zack Snyder at the time, but I was like, okay, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's see what happens. And I watched the movie and I'm like, there's a guy who glows blue and you can see his junk half the movie. And I'm like, no, no,
That's
no.
comic accurate.
I don't care. And then you have a weird lovemaking scene in the ship with what was his name? Night Watch and
Night Owl
Night
and Silk
Owl
Spectre.
and Scarlet
Also
Spectre. And I'm
also
like,
comic book accurate. And so
like,
that's the thing, is that you're not liking the things that are actually
I don't
comic
get
book
it.
accurate, and then Zach changed things from the comic book, and that's what pissed people off too, so I don't
Well,
know.
I never read the comic, nor do I think I want to. It's a little too dark and listen, I like dark and gritty as much as anyone else, but it's too depressing. Sorry.
Well, I think it was a great take on like, really one of the first times we saw superheroes be complicated,
Mhm.
to have trauma in their past, to really take a humanized look at them, um, because honestly, it's like, again, like that Superman, like, no one can touch him, Captain America, Boy
He's a
Scout.
Boy Scout,
Y
yeah.
right, so it's like they live on high morals and they're uncorruptible. These are people with some of them have powers and some of them don't. Some of them just dress up in a suit and do martial arts.
Like Mr. Furious
You
and,
know what I mean? And, like, Night Owl is interesting because he's not even the first Night Owl, he's the second one,
right.
and that title was passed down. So there's been, controversy, there's been scandal with
Mhm.
these superheroes.
The
Some of them were
comedian
arrested.
the comedian assaulted
Oh,
Scarlet
so
Specter's
terrible.
mother.
Right. He ends up being the second he's this super spoilers if you haven't watched or read these, but they've been out for decades now.
Decades.
He is Silk Spectre, the second one, Laurie. He's her father,
Yeah, which I'm like, "Oh
and
gosh,
she
man."
doesn't know until later,
Mhm.
right? But
Yeah.
he's way out there, like,
Hi, Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
burning people in Vietnam and, like, just killing people, and it doesn't matter, and it's like his whole thing is life is a joke, and that's why he's the comedian, but
Ah.
figures stuff out, like, about what's going on and the plans behind everything, and, it's just I think it was the first time and it led to things like The Boys,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
Because
Carl
The Boys
Urban.
is amazing, but
Mhm.
it never would have happened without The Watchmen.
True, true, yeah. Yeah, there's a fair argument to
Boys
be
is
made about
great.
that. It's just for me, it just didn't work, and not every flavor is for everybody. That just
Mhm.
didn't for me, it just didn't work. But Glenn Fleming says Watchmen is perfect, the best superhero film ever made. That is one of the hottest takes
Wow.
I've ever heard in the history of this program. I've heard a lot of
Wow.
hot takes, and Lord knows I invented the words hot takes. But
Hot takes.
No, I said hot takes, not hot
I know, I'm just
takes.
messing with you.
I like hot cakes. I think pancakes are amazing to have in the morning, the afternoon, and the evening hours, but not right now. Anyway, Glenn Fleming says, Ryan, I'm surprised you've made a comment about Watchmen when you haven't even read it. Listen, I've seen the movie. I didn't read the original graphic novel that the movie was based on, but I've seen the movie. I know that's 50-50 here, but
It's
I didn't,
funny
yeah.
because and it's funny that you mentioned the nudity,
No,
because
I don't mind
typically
nudity, but it just needs to be sorry, I can't believe I just said that on
no.
national television. But here's the thing. I don't mind it. It's just that it threw me off to a degree. It
Well,
just
it's
threw me
funny
off.
because usually it's the women superheroes that are scantily clad and
Well,
nude, and
Malin
so
Ackerman in that Still Spectre outfit. I mean,
they
she looked
she still sa it's basically a superhero lingerie is
it's a
what she
cat
is
suit.
wearing,
Yeah. Mhm.
100%.
The cat
But the
suit.
fact that he's nude has to do with his character because he has shed his humanity at this point, and that's one
Uh,
thing that people have is, modesty, right, about our bodies that we cover them up. For the most part, there's nudist colonies, but most of the time people are modest about their
wow.
appearance and they're not completely nude, and
Mhm.
it doesn't even affect him because he's not even he has the appearance of being a human, but he's
Mhm.
so far removed from being human, that's the point. He doesn't care. So and he doesn't care about much. humanity included.
Right.
So he's just like he can see through time and he can see through space, and
Hmm.
it's just he's a really interesting character because he's the only one that really has power in this world, and he does not care about humanity.
Well, that was an interesting dissertation about Watchmen just now, but
Sorry,
Glenn.
that's one of my favorites because that was the first one that I read. You know what I mean? So I've read it a couple
Oh,
times,
that's
and
fair. And Glenn
you
and
know what I
Glenn
mean?
Fleming says the graphic novel is indeed better than the film, and
Yes,
that's
yes.
listen, that's fine. I haven't read it yet. I don't know if I want to read it because I was already dark, disturbed, and
It
messed
is
up
pretty dark.
after
It's less
3
gore
hours.
than, like, The Boys. The Boys is more like shock value
Mhm.
where it's like raunchy
Yeah.
sex and people blowing up and blood, guts, and gore everywhere, and, that's The Boys. It's basically The Watchmen plus adult content.
Right. And
Um,
with Billy Butcher as your host, aka Judge Dredd, aka the
he's
1,000 other
great, though.
characters
I
that
love
guy's
Keith
played in his
Urban.
career. And by the way, Carl Urban, if I ever meet you at a con, I'm gonna have you sign my Dredd Blu-ray because I
I'm
liked him
gonna
as
have him
Dredd.
sign my forehead.
Yeah, but I liked him as Dredd.
I
I
liked
liked
him
him as
as Dre
Dredd.
he was the perfect Dread.
I thought he was brilliant as Dredd. By the
He
way,
was.
Glenn Fleming appears to be on this dissertation about Watchmen. He says, Dr. Manhattan doesn't care, and neither would I if I could walk on the surface of the sun. Yeah, that's a lot of hot.
Right. I mean,
That's like walking
if
along the
that's the
hot
level of
coals
power you have.
as he has. I see. Thanks for
Yeah.
bringing that up, Glenn. And by the way, for those of you just tuning in, this is, and I quote, with our guest of honor, who appears to have an well educated brain about the history of who watches The
Watchmen.
Watchmen. On this episode of And I Quote with Laurie Calcaterra. Now, if you have any questions for her, let us know in those comments. Let us know in the chat. And if you're watching this live or what is known as a replay, thank you. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
you being here. We really, really do. So what would you say is, when did you decide to become an indie comic creator, Laurie?
Now that's a weird story because I never assumed I would be writing anything.
Mm-hmm.
I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts. So my specialization is fabricating jewelry. It's metalsmithing. I've taken like blacksmithing and metallurgy and blah blah blah, right? And my minor is in music. I play the cello, I play the piano, the electric bass, I've played some other things, but cello is my main instrument. So when I went out into the world and found I could do nothing with these skills that could make me money, I went into finance. So I was working in a company, running their books, not anything illegal. I'm just doing accounts payable, people. And then, of course, I've been doing martial arts since I was 17. So that's my hobby, that's my out, and I've been doing that for such a long time. I knew a lot of martial artists. Well, one of my coworkers at work was like, "Hey, I have a friend of mine who's a photographer, and he runs um, a production company in Detroit, and they're looking for martial art people as extras." And so I reached out to him and I was like, well, not only can I be an extra, I'm like, but I can help choreograph fight scenes. And I know people that can help choreograph fight scenes. And so that was actually the inception of Trinity 60, which is my business name. But there was myself and two other martial artists that between us had 60 years of experience in martial arts. And we were the core group of Trinity 60, the fight team. So we were connecting production company with martial artists to train their talent, to fall down for them, to choreograph things, etc., to provide training weapons or look-alike weapons, that kind of stuff that we use that looks real, but it's not, stuff like that. So I know Glenn's like, you're sharing a living room. Yes, we are. We're actually in the same place, time and space. We're bending physics as we know it.
Yeah, thanks for
Right now.
the thanks for noticing, Glenn. Yeah, we share the same living room apparently. I don't know how that happened, but we do.
Ryan did it, and I told him to get out of my house, but he
Yeah, she
won't.
told me to get out. I told her no because I really like this
He says,
place. It's
"I'm
in a
paying
really
rent."
nice. I'm paying
I can't
half the
now.
rent. It's a nice location. It's got some really nice furniture. It's got a piano back there,
He
which
does have
he
a
knows how to
piano.
play, and I know how to
I
play
know
the
how to play.
keyboard a little bit. So I
We play
can
chopsticks. Yeah, stay for the
chopsticks.
after show. There you go.
Yeah. Stick around because we're gonna be playing In the Jungle, the Mighty Jungle Lion Sleeps Tonight. I can play that. So I can play. I can play that, and I can also play Fiddler on the Roof. Anybody remember
Oh,
that?
that's amazing.
I can play Fiddler on the Roof. Yeah.
I do Moonlight Sonata.
Ooh, I love Moonlight Sonata. Love Moonlight
Mhm.
Sonata. Love it.
I
Big
was
fan.
working on the fast movement too, but
Were
I'm out
you?
of practice.
Oh, I think Moonlight Sonata. Yeah. Did you ever
Etc.
play the other one? Did you ever play Fear Elise? You ever play that?
Oh yeah, everybody knows Fear Elise.
Because I love Fear Elise personally.
It's a good song. I like it.
Glenn says, "You play, I'll sing."
Perfect.
If you want to be the vocals, feel
After the
free.
show, hang out
After
with
the
us.
show. Yeah.
So yeah, so I was choreographing martial
Mhm.
artists, choreographing fight scenes for this production company, and we needed like a calling card. We needed like a business card. So I wrote a short film that it's like all martial arts. It's 7 minutes long
Oh my
and it's
god.
very little plot, and we do the acting, which is terrible. Um,
So it's like a Chuck Norris movie.
it's yeah, except we don't have any dubs. But like I do a wall run in a stairwell, we do a gun disarm, we have a extended knife fight, we climb
Really?
up the walls, we run people over with cars, like we do a
You
lot of action in
huh.
7 minutes. And
Yeesh.
it was like it felt like I had been run over by a truck um every time we were done filming because I had been like repeatedly picked up by my neck and pounded onto the floor or like just doing all the stunts. It takes a lot out of you to do it repetitively, right? But
Yeah.
anyway, so I had written that and the production company enjoyed it and was like, "What else can you write?" Because we have this idea for to have a YouTube channel with multiple shows like web content
Mhm.
and opening having their own channel. Well, I came up with a show called The Agency, and it was 2 seasons with 6 episodes each. Again, heavy martial arts, spy versus spy, traitors, espionage, twists and turns, and all sorts of things, right? And then we filmed the pilot and the editor was working on it but they have paying jobs in between what our passion projects were. So between editing and of course there's always reshoots, I had relocated to Texas. So we never finished The Agency. The pilot is still out there, but it is so rough I would never show it to anybody because it's that rough. It has not been refined. Anyway, so that's where I got the writing bug, and while we were working on The Agency, I had come up with the idea for Path of the Pale Rider. What if death broke? What would that look like? How would we progress? What would we eat? What would the government do if your body could decay, but your soul was stuck in it? Your consciousness is there, but you lose your humanity. And I spent a lot of time world building, and I was writing this under the script called Dead West, until I found out that there was like 3 bands and 2 novels under the name of Dead West. So we changed the name to Path of the Pale Rider. There it is. Uh, and so 2020, I had let a few people read the script. So I was writing this in 2018, 2019. It was done. And I was being told to pitch it to Netflix. I don't know about you, but pitching to Netflix is it's daunting. I didn't know how to do it. The more I researched, I found out how hard it is. And then learning that they take all the rights. They send you a check and then you sign over this project and they can do whatever they want with it, right? They can change your characters, they can change the plot, they can bring in new writers, they can do whatever they want. And I wasn't ready to do that. This was my first baby. I wanted people to know the characters and understand the world. And plus, I had all these cool things planned for like riddles and short films and things that I wanted to do. So that's when it was like, all right, we're going to turn this into something else. And it was my husband. I remember he read the script. Finally, he read the script. He wasn't the first person to read it. And he was like, this is a comic book. And I was like, oh, I never thought about it that way, right? So in 2020 is when we were like, okay, we're going to turn it into a comic book. I had broken it up into 12 issues. It was actually 13 issues at that time. We condensed it down to 12 just this year. And I went looking for artists. I was trying to learn how to run a Kickstarter. I was looking for information, how to print, all of it. It was like starting from scratch. I found an artist named David Rodriguez, who started the project back in 2020, and I brought in a colorist, Jose Martinez, to work on it, and everything went wrong. There was like everybody caught COVID. People lost their jobs, gained their jobs. Someone got pregnant. There was a tree that fell on someone's house. Water came through the ceiling in someone else's house. There was a shooting. Like it was just like it was so bad. It was like, okay, I'm listening. I think we're cursed, right? David left the project in, I want to say, June. And then Jose tried to start over. And in August, I finally called it because nothing was getting done. I was like, let's take a break. I like you guys. I don't want to burn relationships. Let's just, take a break and we'll see what we want to do. So I knew at that point I needed to find the right person to be on the project. And I was just patient. And I said, if I find the right person, then we'll move forward. And if not, I'll just keep waiting. If it's not meant to be, I won't find that person. Maybe I needed to do something else with it, turn it into a novel, sell the script. I don't know. But I met Marco DeFeo in January 2022. And he drew Jude St. Clair, and I was immediately like, yes, this is my character. We signed contracts. We kickstarted in March of 2022, smashed our goal. And then self-published. It was out July of 2022. And then every 6 months or so, we've been releasing new issues. So each issue has a riddle. So I've been not only writing comics, kickstartering, building the marketing, managing the art team, printing stuff, shipping it all myself. It's like crafting the riddles, shooting the short films, editing, producing, and I do a lot of stuff for Path of the Pale Rider, but I love it. I love it. We wrote a Choose Your Own Adventure book with issue 2. Issue 2 came out in color. So, and then we've been doing color since issue 2 and forward. Issue 3, we brought on a colorist. So you can see we've been growing and changing and adapting. We just wrapped up our first trade paperback. Thank you. So it was a collection of issues 1 through 4 plus bonus material in a soft cover book. It's 148 pages. It's being printed by ASAP Imagination in the UK. They are a wonderful publisher. And we have international shipping. Path of the Pale Rider is now in Waterstones, Foyers, and Hatchards, which are 3 bookstores in the UK. You can order them online. You can pre-order right now because they're not printed yet. But yeah, it's just we've been growing leaps and bounds. We've been visiting comic book stores, going to cons, meeting fans. It's been amazing. So that's kind of our whole journey in a nutshell.
Well, thanks for sharing that Eat Your Hollywood story with us, because after hearing all that jazz, I mean, we only got to say this to you.
Yes! That's awesome!
I don't have a dart sticking out of my neck, though.
No. No one was harmed in the making of us showing that clip to our dear friend Laurie. Once again, this is And I Quote with Laurie Calcaterra of Path of the Pale Rider on this episode of And I Quote. Don't forget to like and share this with everyone you know. If you have any questions for Laurie, by all means, let us know in that chat. Let us know in the comments. And if you're watching this live or what is known as a replay, we thank you for being here. I want to take a moment to acknowledge the kind people in the chat. Let's see. Lou says Fiddler on the Roof is one of my favorite films.
Yes, I love that movie.
Yeah, and then Glenn says Fiddler on the Roof is an unfortunate title. I'm surprised it hasn't been canceled by the cancel culture yet. Well, who knows, pal? Cancel culture is a fickle bunch. And then Lou says I'm with you on that in that situation. Glenn Quentin White is here. He says Laurie.
No, it's like this. Laurie.
Oh, really? It's not like in Team America? Matt Damon, Laurie. Yeah, it's not like Laurie Calcaterra.
No, it was from the old shows, like Laurie. Like you're shaking your head at somebody.
Yeah, I feel like someone's trying to give you shame or something. I don't know why.
No, just stop.
Well, Quentin says, what's up? And then he goes on to say, good morning, y'all. Good morning, you too, Quentin.
Good morning.
I'm
not in Texas. Got my cornbread and my grits.
Is he in Texas or no?
No.
He's not. He's just trying to sound like a Texan, but he's not doing a good job of it.
Sorry, y'all, because I'm in Texas. So.
Because Laurie is in Texas. Everything is bigger and better in Texas. So
even the hail.
You mean the hail storms that are bigger in Texas?
Yeah.
Is that true? Okay.
Yeah. Did you? You didn't see it. I posted a video.
I didn't. What did you post? What was this?
It was on my husband's birthday. It was March 14th.
Mm-hmm. So that was before St. Patty's Day, if I remember correctly.
Yes, we had this giant hailstorm, and the hail was this big.
Size of golf balls?
It was, it was like golf ball size. Everybody that had their car outside, it was damaged. A lot of the roofs got damaged. It was bad. So,
I'm sorry. Sorry to hear that.
We were okay. Our stuff was in the garage, and our roof made it through. Like I didn't see, but it was bad. Yeah, Lou's in Texas, so she knows.
Oh, golf ball size hailstorms take place in Texas. I am
I was
so
like,
sorry,
"Who
Lou.
asked for the apocalypse?" Wasn't me.
Was it Lori's fault?
No,
Was it? No.
don't blame me.
I'm not trying. I'm not trying to, but it seems like the
I've been
audience
blamed for the apocalypse twice now.
twice. Twice. You know,
It's not my fault.
if you're blamed 3 times, that means you got 3 strikes and
Is
you're
that
out.
it? And then I have to actually take responsibility for my actions.
Yeah. Does anyone ever take responsibility for that? Half the time they
No.
don't even know.
No.
Glenn Fleming says, I once went to Texas in the year of 1978 AD. I bought the biggest steak I've ever seen in my life, and I'm still eating it to this day.
Glenn. Should probably throw it out by now, man. That steak is older than I am.
Oh boy, I think we just dated some people in this inside or
Mm.
outside of the studio. Quentin says, my buddy who's also in the state of Texas told me about the unfortunate hailstorm.
Yeah.
Just be safe out there. That's all I can say. Be safe out
Well,
there.
it's springtime in Texas. It's hail season.
It is hail season. All right, and then she says, thankfully the last storm missed us.
Oh, we got pummeled.
Mm. Just out of curiosity though, are you and your family going to be seeing that movie that nobody asked for? That's a pseudo spin-off / ripoff / sequel to the original known as Twisters.
I haven't decided if I want to see that yet. I think I might wait. I'm super picky about when we go see movies. Like it has to be something my husband and I really want to see because we have kids.
Well, of
So
course.
we have to make arrangements for the littles to go somewhere. So we don't go see something every weekend, no matter, you know what I mean? Just because it's out. We like if one of us is like, no, I don't want to see that, we don't go. I wanted to see Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I remember that was out and I was like, hey, it's getting really good reviews. You want to see it? And Dom was like, no. And I was like, well, okay then. And we didn't go. So I think our movie history, we saw Oppenheimer, and then the next movie we saw after that was Dune 2. So we don't go see stuff. We do like horror, so we're planning on seeing, what was that? What did I call it? The devil.
The meeting with the meeting with
The
I can't.
devil.
But let me ask you
That's
this:
the new one.
There is a family movie out right now. Are you and your family going to see Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire?
I don't know.
Uh,
Well, my girls aren't other enough to see that. Honestly, they're 6 and
okay.
10.
Oh,
So
okay.
the
Never
6-year-old,
mind.
no. But
Nope.
they haven't seen any of the other Ghostbusters at all, so they would have no clue what's going on. They
They would have
wouldn't get the nostalgia. They wouldn't get, the
the
cameos.
Easter
They
eggs.
wouldn't
The Easter
they
eggs.
wouldn't
Yeah.
get it. So, I didn't see the last 2 Ghostbusters.
I didn't see the female-led one with
Didn't see that one.
I had no
You
I
saw the
didn't have
one
I didn't
before
have
this
any
one?
interest in that one, but I did see Ghostbusters Afterlife, and that was pretty good.
Okay.
That was
The kid
good.
from I think weird and gangly now. I don't like it.
Ghostbusters Afterlife was good, but can't say much about the other one. Let's see.
Yeah.
Lou says I went on vacation to Texas from England in 2004, and guess what?
Yes,
I'm
you
still
stayed.
here. It's the weather and the people that I'm staying for.
Yes. It's great down here. I'll tell you, I'm a Michigander. That's where I was born, and I was there up until 2000 and we lived in California for a short time and then moved back in 2008, and then we were there from 2008 to 2019, and it's cold there. And again, you can tell a lot about a people by how they use their words, and when there's like 7 different kinds of words for snow, no thank you. It's time to move.
It's time to leave.
And I hate being cold. I hate it. I hate the
How do you
snow.
think I feel? How do you think I feel when I go to work every day, freezing my keister off because it's not climate controlled where I work here in the state of Maryland?
Yeah.
So, and it's been very cold
done
lately.
it.
It's been very cold. It's been windy, and I'm thinking to myself, this is ridiculous.
done it.
Hence the reason I bought some new hoodies.
Yeah.
So I can keep
I
myself
mean,
warm.
I can get by the entire year in just a hoodie when it gets cold, except for maybe a couple days. But here in Texas, like all of our winter clothes went into storage, and I don't think we ever got them out. So do what Lou does. Take a vacation to Texas and just stay.
Maybe I should.
That's what we did.
Maybe I should go to Texas. I do have friends in Texas, including Laurie over here. So,
It's a giant state too. There's lots here. So much going on, and
a lot
it's
of things to explore.
soon to become its own country. No, I'm just kidding.
Maybe I can go back to learning how to do some horseback riding. You never know.
That would be fun. I wanna do that too. I wanna
Horseback riding.
Yeah.
I'm up for it. Maybe you know what? If I come down to Texas, we'll see if we can plan something. Maybe we can get my friends
I'm
together.
sure there's ranches everywhere.
There's
over
ranches
where
every.
we
Okay,
are
well then
too.
you, me, and my friend who lives down there, we can get together with them and see what happens.
Go
You never know.
horseback riding.
Horseback
It's a
riding.
plan. It's a plan.
I think it sounds like fun. Plus, I can put on my Indiana Jones costume and
Yes.
yeah.
And I'll just sing after you. Dun, 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 dun,
You
dun,
can
dun, dun.
pull the John Williams score. Why don't you? Thank you,
Dun,
John
dun,
Williams. By the
dun.
way, love you, John.
Oh, this is kind of seeing shiny things and going off on a tangent, but
Oh
there's
dear.
that concert.
Mhm.
Oh, I wanted to go
Where was
to
this?
who's
Was this in
my
Texas
brain
or was
just
this?
derailed. The guy
Oh,
that does the soundtrack, uh,
you mean John Williams?
not John Williams, not John Williams.
Hans
It's like
Zimmer?
Hans Zimmer live, yeah.
Hans Zimmer.
Where they have like the movie screens in the background, and
Oh, and they have a full
they play the
orchestra?
movie, and the orchestra plays the
Yeah, I've
music.
always wanted to do that. I've always wanted to go.
I wanted to go, and they were gonna be in Dallas
Da
area
Dallas, Texas?
in September, and I went and looked, and the tickets were gone.
Already?
Um,
Ooh,
well, the affordable tickets were gone, and affordable is in
is
quotations.
okay, sorry.
It was like there was 2 tickets left for a section all the way in the back, and they were 189 each, and then after that, they went up to,
God.
like, $290
No.
each, and I was like,
No.
because I wanted to go and take my girls because they would love it. They love Pirates of the Caribbean, and, like, they just like music in general, and that would be such a great experience for them, but I was like, "I can't spend $1,000 to freaking go to one event."
I hate when
Holy
that happens.
crap.
I would have
Holy
liked to have
crap.
gone.
But I would love to go. I would love to go to
We
one of
should all
those.
go. I think we should all go as a family. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
It costs an arm and a leg to
It would
go.
go it would go it would, but, you know, hey, you know what they say, right?
If money
Anything
was no object, we
if
would
money
go,
was no
for
object and we had unlimited resources, we would be there in a heartbeat.
heck yeah.
Trust me. Me,
'Cause it
Lori, a
was
few
like,
other people that I know of in Texas.
Interstellar,
Mhm.
like the song from Interstellar that they play on the organ,
Inception.
and like,
Mhm.
Inception, music from Inception,
As
music
soon as
from
I'll tell you what, I've seen it
Kung
and you
Fu
can watch it.
Panda.
True, but you can watch this on YouTube as well. People have posted performances of people, you know, doing
It's
Hans Zimmer,
not
like,
the
conducting it.
same.
Yeah, but Hans Zimmer's, like, conducted certain, concerts over the years. John Williams has made appearances at some of these things. What I'm
Yeah,
what I'm saying is that when Hans Zimmer is playing the piano and he's leading the you know, he's conducting, I would say.
amazing.
He's conducting the team, and they're playing as soon as they start playing Man of Steel score, I'm, like, in another world. It's like, "Yes,
I
Man of
know.
Steel, give it to me, man."
There's something about live music though, because you can actually feel the sound
Mhm.
waves are hitting your body.
Yes.
It's not
Mhm.
electronic being interpreted through a system, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? You're there, and depending on where you're sitting, you're getting different energy because the music is traveling in lines, right? So if you're in a certain direction, you're getting hit by more of the strings or more of the brass, or you know what I mean, the percussion, and it's live music is so amazing to be there and to live it and have like this communal experience. Any kind of live music event is just amazing to go to. It's just so expensive. You know, it's like someday I want to take my girls so they can experience that, but it's just,
Mm.
the driving, the parking,
The cost,
funneling in, waiting in line forever, waiting for things to start,
a
you know what I
lot.
mean? Paying $1,200 for concessions. And then finally it starts, it's amazing, and it's 100% worth it, but it's like, do I pay my mortgage or do I take everybody to Hans
I
Zimmer?
It's a valid question. By the way, our good friends in
Yep.
the chat are having lovely questions and
Groupon.
comments and
Yeah, we need a
discussions.
Groupon for
Let me see. Lou, if I had stayed in Texas, I would have, but couldn't. There are dinosaur footprints in Texas?
Yeah. Heck yeah, there are.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
We have a T-Rex. Is there a T-Rex Velociraptor prints in
What
Texas I'm
what
unaware of?
what are the prints of, Quentin? Do you know? Tell us.
Do we know what they are? And then Glenn says, when I go back, Lori and I are headed for the Texas School Book Depository, I should say. Okay.
Yes. We're gonna go check out
I've
that.
never heard of that, but I'd be curious to see where it is
No, we're gonna go
pay
to the,
pay him a
6th
visit.
floor. That's why I think that's what he's talking about, the
The
6th floor
6th
museum.
floor.
It's because Glenn actually wrote a book about,
Really?
the JFK
Oh
assassination.
my.
He was here and he was researching it back
Mhm.
before the internet, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So he has a
long
lot of
before the
information,
internet, yeah.
but he's never been through the 6th floor museum. So I would love to go and get his perspective of that. You know
That's
what I
another
mean? Because he has a lot of information, and I wonder if they're even conveying all of that information that he knows.
that's
So
another
if
trip we're
he
gonna have
ever
to make.
comes to Texas, I wanna go to the 6th floor
Yeah.
museum with Glenn because that would be really cool
I need to
to
get down
go.
to Texas ASAP. Quentin says John Williams versus Hans Zimmer would be awesome. Lou says Groupons, maybe?
Ah, I wish there was a Groupon. I doubt it. I doubt it.
If you can find them
There's
online, Lou, if you find them online for us, send them towards Laurie and I's way. Please do. And then Quentin says, it's about family. Vin Diesel. Glenn Fleming says
family.
they wouldn't let me into the Texas School Book Depository, unfortunately.
Well, not back then. That was before it was a museum.
Oh, by the way,
Because
doesn't everything?
that's where Lee Harvey Oswald
Oh,
was
okay,
shooting out of the
got you.
window.
Got
That's what he's talking about.
Is
But it's weird that they wouldn't let him in to look at it.
doesn't Glenn belong in a museum? See what I did there? See what I did there? Glenn, we love you, man. We love you. We love you. It's all good. It's all good. By the way, for those of you just tuning in wondering what the frack is going on, this is, and I quote, with the incredible and very educated, I would say, Laurie Calcaterra. Don't forget to like and share this with everyone you know. If you have any questions or rather just outlandish comments for us, let us know in those comments. Let us know in the chat.
Yeah, we're having fun.
And we're having way too much fun. If you're watching this live or what is known as a replay, we thank you for being with us. Sorry, Glenn, I had to say it. And Laurie, my question for you is simply this. What are the rewards about being an indie comic creator, in your opinion?
Oh, there's a ton. There's a ton of rewards being indie. Because I manage the project, so I can control what goes into the story. I don't have to write someone else's thoughts. I'm going to say agenda. I don't know if that's even accurate, but you see what I'm saying? Like when you work for a bigger publisher, they can kind of tell you which way you need to go or they'd like to see you go. And I don't have that. So my story is my story. And we do cross lines. You know what I mean? I don't have someone else being like, you need to take that out because eek, or yikes, or I'm not sure if we should talk about that. We can talk about whatever because it's my book. And same thing, getting people involved. I can get, whoever wants to be involved, I can bring them in as long as I can continue to afford it. And we're just on my own schedule. There isn't like a deadline every week. It's like we set our deadlines. We have a conversation about where we want the book to go and how quickly we want it to get there. And we get there as a team. So I feel really great being an indie because it's taking on its own life. People are finding us and appreciating what we're doing, and understanding that it is a passion project and that if it's done, it's because myself and my team have gotten us there. It isn't like, oh, pat you on the head, your script is great, but Marvel's paying for it, or Marvel is doing, or DC is producing your book and putting it out there. It's like, no, if you see our Kickstarters and you see the kind of impression that we have, it's based off of our own true merit and our own hard work that we put in. So indie is great. We are so fortunate to be indie in this era where you can Kickstarter and we have social media where people can find you from across the world and follow your progress, when that wasn't a possibility in the past. It used to be find a publisher, pitch to your publisher 17,000 times before they accept you, if they accept you, and if they were like, we don't think, because again, I mean, look at us for an example. On the surface, we appear to be zombie, right? Zombies have kind of jumped the shark. Too much Walking Dead, right? It's been done, and it's been done again and again and again. But when you find out what our story is about, where it's not really zombies, but it's death being broken and what humanity is doing to each other and the determination of someone to figure it out. And what does it look like? What does he, what's his journey and how is he questioning his own humanity based off of the things that are going on around him? So it's different. So back then it'd be like, no, kid, it's zombies, pass. You know what I mean? Without even looking at it. And I can say, well, we're not zombies. We're something different. And I can go ahead and produce it anyway, and people will find us and enjoy us and lift us up because they want to come along for the ride that I'm providing. So indie is great. There's a ton of new stuff here. The best stuff, in my opinion, is people that are in their passion projects, putting it out into the world, spending their time in their afternoon away from their families sometimes to put this out there because they care that much. It's not something where they don't care. It could be mediocre because I don't care. You know what I mean? And we get a lot of that in Hollywood. This is the formula. You follow it. Action, boobs, they tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. You know what I mean?
You're not bloody wrong.
I'm not.
Because
So
the old saying goes back to the olden times that sex sells. So,
yeah, but I mean, like sex sells in
Fortunately.
comics books I can't say it, comic books too.
Comic
It
books.
just
Yeah.
does. But
Yeah.
again, in indie, it's like you can find the weirdest stuff out there, and it's all original and new and pushing the buck, and it's not something that you're getting a regurgitated or
No.
how many times do we have to say no to these remake of movies where it's like The Crow is going to fail.
We all
There
know
is
that one,
no
pal.
way that's going to
And the
succeed.
OG Crow turns 30 next week, which we will be
Nobody asked
celebrating
for
here
this
on this
movie.
channel.
We're
So
spending all this time and money to produce this pile of steaming caca. Nobody wants.
that's one way of cursing without cursing on this
I know, I was
broadcast.
like, I don't think I can
It's
swear.
okay, it's family friendly,
Um,
but we understand, it's fine.
it's junk, right?
It's
But my point
garbage.
is why aren't we spending the time on these passion projects? It's like the people that produce these one-offs that become that are amazing and well received. The Blair Witch Project, Paranormal Activity.
Dude, that first one creeped me out, man.
It's scary, right? But it had such a great following, and then Hollywood comes in and it's like, "We're gonna do it better," and they
We're
make
gonna
it
milk the
worse.
cash cow and make 6,000 spinoffs and sequels.
A
Yeah.
Quiet Place. All
Yeah.
these things were intended to be one and done, and then Hollywood comes in and makes them
But
terrible.
John and Emily make a great creative team.
They do, and the first Quiet Place is such it's just gold.
That's a
Just all
tight-knit
the
story too.
It's a fabulous story, it hadn't been told before, just the tension that they build, masterful. You know what I mean? The ending, just the emotion behind it, it was an amazing, amazing movie. I saw the second one, didn't care. I don't care how many Cillian Murphys you bring in.
And that was a few years before he was Barbenheimer. So,
Yeah, it was before that.
before the
And he's been in
Barbenheimer
a lot of
craze,
good stuff, but I just didn't it's like the same thing, it's like, I don't care.
he was a
So,
scarecrow in Batman.
he
So,
was in all his Batmans,
he
and
was
he was
great.
in all sorts of stuff. He's in
Dr.
another one of
Jonathan
my favorites, which
Crane
is
as he was
28 Days
known.
Later. That
Yeah,
was early
they're
on.
making a threequel to that, I heard.
So, 1, 2, 3, it's the 4th one, so there's
Or fourth,
28
yeah.
days, 28 weeks, 28 months, and now they're doing 28 years.
Jeez, that's a long time, Killian.
Why? Again, who asked for that?
That's a long time. 28 years later? Ugh.
Who cares?
Cillian Murphy's gonna look awfully rough in that one.
I don't think he's in it. I don't
Oh,
think
he's not even
they probably
involved?
can't afford him
Just
at
like
this
the
point.
Gladiator sequel that they're making where Russell Crowe isn't involved?
Most of them are, I
They
don't
don't
think
care.
Killian was in anything except for the first one.
Oh, I thought he was in all of them, sorry. I haven't seen any
No,
of these movies,
28
so I
weeks,
can't comment or
28 months,
speculate.
he was not.
Okay.
Um,
Sorry, I wasn't there.
yeah, it's alright.
I
I
didn't
know,
see him.
those are all I like horror, I watch zombie horror.
I like horror. She likes horror. It's fine. You know what's not horrifying to you
What?
is that Quentin gave us some fun facts. So the dinosaur tracks that are in the state of Texas
Oh.
are 113 million years old, which was way before we have a
Oh,
T-Rex.
before the
We
T-Rex.
clocked the T-Rex at 35 miles an hour. But these tracks contain two kinds of different dinosaurs. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce that first one, but the second one is called a Sauroposeidon. Sauroposeidon. And then he says a huge, let me see here. Quentin
Ooh,
goes
a
on to say a
mega-
huge chunk of it shipped off to New York City's American Museum of Natural
took it!
History. Wow. I guess, listen, I got friends in New York, so I could go up there and see it. Lou
Send
says
us
the
our
OG.
land back.
Lou says the OG Crow is the only one that we need with Brandon
Yeah,
Lee.
and I
Yes,
mean, like, there's been multiples of those before this. It's not like they haven't been trying to.
isn't new.
They always go back and they try to recapture the
Mhm.
passion, the emotion, the fandom. They can't do it. They can't.
Well, I would.
Stop
then-
trying. Stop producing this bland
So
terribleness and bring in more new stuff and give
Yeah.
it a chance.
it goes back to that PSA we heard many eons ago by Michael Jordan, where he looks dead into the camera and he says, "Stop it. Get some
Just
help."
stop it.
Anybody remember that? By the way, Quentin says, but thanks to climate change, as the river dried up, more dino footprints revealed recently. Here's Johnny. Wow, Quentin.
Yeah, it's interesting that they're finding all sorts of new stuff because of different climates that are going through.
I didn't know this.
Yeah.
This is all news to me. And then Glenn Vlee Fleming says, Killian is best in the TV series Peaky Blinders. It's amazing television.
I couldn't get into that one. I
I never
tried.
saw it. I never saw it.
It's supposed to be really good. It has a big audience and a big, the
Does.
fandom is very passionate about
Pretty
it.
strong.
It's
Mhm.
are they Irish? They're
Is it
mobsters.
Irish?
I could be wrong.
If it's
Glenn,
about
I'm
if
sorry.
it's about Irish people fighting in the streets like they did on that cop show called Copper, I'm down.
I don't think so. I don't know if it's Irish immigrants or something in New York in a certain time when it was like,
Oh, during the immigration period, yeah.
yeah, when it was like, ew, Irish immigrants. You know what I mean? I could be
Yeah.
wrong. Glenn, you'll have to tell us. But
Kinda reminds me of the movie Gangs in New York.
yeah, I think so. Like
Anybody remember
that.
that movie?
It was
Yeah,
okay.
I
I
liked
think
it.
Cameron, what's her face, was not great. They're
You mean
from
a lot of people
Birmingham.
have said over the years that Cameron Diaz was miscast.
Yeah, I don't think they were like DiCaprio and
Daniel
what's the other guy?
Day-Lewis,
Yeah, just like they're like, a 10 and she's like a
where
6.
did she
When it
come
comes
in?
to acting skill, they're from
Oh,
Birmingham.
they're from Birmingham, Glenn
So
Fleming says
they're
on Peaky Blinders. Birmingham.
yeah,
Okay.
okay.
So that's where they're
That's from
from.
the
Thank you,
UK
Glenn.
then. Yes.
Is that the Birmingham, UK? Okay. Just
I
wanna make
think
sure
Glenn
was it
will have
the
to correct us again.
correct us if it's the UK or something else, I can't remember. But on the flip side of the coin here for you, Laurie, what are some of the biggest challenges about being an indie comic creator?
Oh, okay. So one of the biggest challenges of being in indie is having people find you.
Mhm.
That is yes, thank you, Glenn. That's what I thought, but I just wanted to
Birmingham,
make sure.
England.
But, you don't have that powerhouse, publisher behind you. So, uh, your limits are your audience and how do you find them. So you wear a lot of hats. You spend a lot of time on this. So it's not like you can just be like, "Oh, my script's done, get done." Nope, you gotta find the people. You gotta do it. You have to be in the trenches, you have to put in the time and effort to see it move. And if you're not doing it, don't expect to see it move. There's nobody that's gonna be as passionate about your project as you. So even my artists are wonderful. They love Path of the Pale Rider. They would never push as hard as I do, right? Let's be honest. So, and they're both great. So that's not knocking them. It's just the honest, assessment of the situation that if you want something done, you got to do it yourself. Um, but my suggestion in indie is to find people that are like you or that emulate the same kind of work ethic that you have so that way you can help lift each other up. You've mentioned Carissa. Carissa is one of the hardest working ladies out there. She's not one of the hardest working people in comics, hands down. So she's kind of we bounce stuff off each other. We keep each other up. When her Kickstarter gets a cancellation, I tell her I'm going to run him over with my car, etc. I try to make her feel better. She does the same for me though. Like when I get a cancellation, she's like, shovel time, get in the hole, like let's go. Um, so we just, we strive to keep each other moving in the right direction and staying positive. Find those people out there that have done what you want to do and then find out how they did it. So that's in any profession. You know what I mean? If you want to be a CEO of a company, find a CEO of a company that hopefully will talk to you and ask them how they did it. What was their career path? What are the things that they had to sacrifice in order to get there? That's the same thing that I want to do. So like I'll find like Tom Hutchinson and like Big Dog Inc. from Big Dog Inc. and like Max and Johnny from Atrocity Press. And like these guys run like 20K on their Kickstarters. It's like, how did you do it? Madeline Holly Rosing, how did you do it? You have to stay in the trenches. You have to put in the time. A lot of it is time and letting people find you to continue to market, to look for new avenues, to be constantly thinking outside the box. That's part of the challenge of indie is time and effort.
That's very true, that's very true. We thank you for sharing that with us. Good pieces of advice and stories there. Now, have there been any special memories for you from being at conventions, whether you're there as a vendor or there as an attendee?
Special memories.
Yeah, anything that stands out to you? Have you met Carissa in person yet? Because I know that would break the
Yeah.
internet times 1,000 because and I do agree with you, Carissa's one of the hardest working people I've ever met in my freaking life. The woman
Yeah.
doesn't sleep. I feel like she's a machine that was sent
She
back through
doesn't sleep.
time.
I'll get a text from her at like 2 a.m. and I'm looking at my
Yeah,
phone. Just
I feel
talk
like she was
to
sent back
Carissa.
through time by Skynet and Cyberdyne systems to not ruin
Bet.
people's lives, but like to make an impact in the indie comic circuit and do things for the better. So, listen, if that's what Skynet and Cyberdyne were doing all this time for 40 years,
She's
well done
amazing.
because Carissa Grant is kicking tail and taking names. Find her at worthychaoscomics.com. But yes, you were saying something about memories for you about being at conventions or other events. There, Laurie?
I've met well, there's quite a few comic creators here in Texas. So like William
Well, it's
Russell is
only one of the
here.
biggest states in the country.
Yeah, but I mean, like, just it's so big though. Like, there's people in Texas that I have not met because we're so far away. Like, Joffrey Cotton, who does Awful Thoughts. He's in Houston. I haven't been down to Houston yet, but like Sam Vera is here. He does There's an Alien in My Toilet. The Charter Crew is all here. So like Chris Hayes and McLean McGuire and Ken Salinas, Lacey Kruger. So there's a ton of people that I have met. And I love doing cons where we're all together. So it's like all the cool kids at school, or like you sit in the back of the bus and you misbehave. That's us at cons. So we just have a good old time and we visit each other's tables. And, I think I love Cowtown in Fort Worth. It's usually in September or October, and a lot of the people that have done variant covers for me are there. So we just have a blast, like sending people back and forth where it's like, I have a Lacey Kruger cover, like you can get it here. I'll sign it for you and then go have Lacey sign it. And then William Russell's customer will come see me. And it's like, hey, I got this variant over at William Russell's. Can you sign it? So we just like send people around, and it's like, I almost want to play a game where I'm like, take this note and go give it to William Russell, and it says like tag your it or something, you know what I mean, where we could play a game with it. But so that was great. I also got to meet George Medina from Catch the Craze, and he writes all sorts of stuff. Wonder Doc, Russ 5377, which just got its 25th year anniversary trade paperback is out on anyoneworld.com. So he was in Texas visiting Sam Vera and came to Texoma, which I was at. So we got to hang out with him and Sam, and those two are so funny together. Like they were dancing in the parking lot at one point, and it was like the end of Gangnam Style. You know, the guy in the yellow suit when they're like doing the Running Man and stuff in the parking. That was them. They were just a blast. We just had a good time. So cons are great. You can get more, find more of your audience that you probably won't find on social media and don't necessarily do Kickstarters. You find new people, you spend a lot of time with other vendors. You might build your community that way. That's how I met Gilbert Perez, who did the Lola pinup for our current campaign. So you'll never know who you're going to meet. And then of course you get to hopefully see some of your favorites and hang out and catch up. So I got to meet Austin St. John at a con as well. He
OG
writes
Red Ranger, yeah.
the original Red Power Ranger. He
OG,
actually lives
baby.
out this way.
He does. He's a Texan.
Mhm. So he actually knows me at this point because I met him
Really?
at a store.
Was it Madness Comics and Games?
I met him at Pastime Comics in Wautega.
Okay, that's different.
And
All right,
I
got it.
waited until the line was down, because the charter group helps him with his comics. So they co-write it. They McLean letters it, and Chris Hayes will help co-write
Oh,
it.
the Redemption comics?
Redemption, yeah.
Yeah, okay,
So he gave
cool.
me a signed copy of his first one, and I was like, I have something for you. And I gave him copies of Path of the Pale Rider. And then so I saw him at Texoma, and I was just like, hey, I don't know if you remember me. He was like, yeah, we were at Pastime. You do martial arts. And I was like, yeah, we had a long conversation about Filipino martial arts. And he was like, yeah, how's it going? How's your comic book? So we had a conversation. Does he know my name? Not yet. But he remembered me and like remembered that I do martial arts and that I was doing comics. I was like, hey, I got a new comic for you. He's like, sweet. He's like, I never get new comics. I'm always, giving out my comic, but thanks. So he was cool.
Well, that's just more phenomenal, Laurie. That's more phenomenal. For those of us who grew up in the 90s,
When he does that, I'm like,
yeah. Well, that was my thing in the 90s. That was my thing.
Mine too.
Lou says, when I used to do Artist Alley at conventions, the best part was meeting other creators. I agree with you. When I go to conventions and I'm meeting other creators and just talking to them about whether it's their comic book, whether it's their book, there are writers too, writers pros, all that stuff. And the artists, I mean, going into exhibitor/artist alley is probably, outside of meeting the, big fish that I'm there to see. That's my favorite part of the con, is just meeting all the creators and networking with other creators is so much fun. It is so much fun. So good point there, Lou. And thank you for sharing that with us. What was it? Laurie, sorry. This is And I Quote with Laurie Calcaterra of Path of the Pale Rider. If you have any questions for her, by all means, let us know in those comments. Drop them in the chat.
Yeah, let me know if you have questions.
Yeah, and if you're watching
the story, I would love to answer questions about the story, because we have a interesting story.
Yeah, and don't forget to like and share this with everyone you know. And if you like what you let me see, if you're watching this live or on the replay, We thank you for being here. I do want to let Laurie know, and the person who may be watching or listening to this, know that we are powered by our good friends over here at Poddex. Now, check this.
Cool.
Check this out. Poddex are the hottest new tool for podcasters looking to have more meaningful conversations or gamify their podcast, if you will. You simply shuffle up, ask a question, and you let the content roll. You can get yours today at poddex.com and use that promo code Ryan10. That's RYAN10 for 10% off your order. Visit our friends over there at poddex.com. So poddex.com wants to know, Laurie, what are you most excited about right now?
I'm very excited that I am almost 100% fulfilled issue number 4. So a majority of those books went out. I'm still waiting for like medals and choose your own adventure books. So that's finally done. I'm excited that the trade paperback Kickstarter is over. So that is winding its way down. We're just waiting for funds to come in, and then I can order merch and order the books. That'll be like Christmas morning when those books show up at my front door, and I can show off the trade paperback. I'm really excited for those. If you missed our Kickstarter, but you still want a copy of the trade paperback, you can still order them off of ASAP Imagination's website. There's a Laurie Calcaterra collection. It has digitals available for each individual, but it has that trade paperback physical for $24.99, which is the same price that we had it on as the Kickstarter was $25. So you actually get to save a penny. Hurrah! But they have international shipping, so you can get it wherever you are, and it's wonderful. So I'm very excited that that's all kind of wrapping up and winding down. I'll have a breathing room. Oh, no, I won't. I'm just kidding. We're finishing up our 4th short film. I just went and did reshoots this morning prior to... Be quiet, Siri. Consequences. Yes, that is correct. But we're finishing up that 4th short film. I just have some editing to do. I got to chop some things under the editor's floor. And then that'll be done, and that will be released. The actors got to see the rough cut, and they were very excited. The very last scene with all the blood turned out amazing. And then, of course, the credits, everybody that got to do the zombification for the credits, they all look wonderful. That was the first time that someone had seen the full credits. There's my actors, and they were like, what are these? These are super cool. So they had a blast, and they chuckled about some of the stuff that was going on in there. So we still have more stuff to do. There's no stopping. And then issue number 5 is already in pre-launch. So you can sign up for Kickstarter for issue number 5. It's in pre-launch. It won't be launching for a little bit, but go ahead and sign up just so you get a reminder when we do launch. Of course, when I know launch dates, I'll announce them, but we're far off from there. Probably May.
Oh, wow. A lot of work being done, so it's fair to say
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
We're going to need a bigger boat.
I mean, you and Carissa are like machines from the future. By the way, Quentin mentioned this earlier. Carissinator. Yeah. I think she is. I think it's fair to say that both Laurie and Carissa are Terminators sent back through time. So you never know. By the way, Lou says, I'll have the chicken nuggets, but there's probably consequences with the nuggets.
Those nuggets still move.
Nuggets. Chicken, is it chicken McNuggets or just chicken nuggets? Doesn't matter.
Chicken nuggets is what Ellie Brock said. We're going to bring Ellie Brock back for the next short film, along with some additional zombies or people that have been zombified for some speaking roles. I'm really excited. So I'm already working on the next short film and piecing it together, what we want to do. Should just go ahead and get started because, oh my God, we're going to be doing issue 5 in not too long. So
yeah, make sure you get plenty of rest, which is never going to happen. But
what's that?
What's sleep? Sleep's overrated. Plus, you'll have plenty of time to sleep when you're dead.
I always put that. I'm like, sleep when you're dead.
Sleep
in the meantime, Path of the Pill Rider 5 is in pre-launch.
Which is in pre-launch, which you can find more information about in the links where you can find Laurie and myself are in the description.
I didn't even think about that because I was
okay.
In pre-launch.
Late production notes. But here's a question for you from our good friends at Poddex, if you don't mind me asking. What would be your best day ever?
My best day ever?
Yeah, what would be your best day ever, other than getting together with your sister from another mister known as Carissa?
Oh, there's so many things that I could say here. There's so many different sides of Laurie Calcaterra. I would love to do martial arts, read some good comics, play with my kids. What else? uh, have my book in my hand of all 12 issues completed. There's just and then go eat some barbecue, lay in the float around in the pool. Oh, I have a wrench. Okay, we're good. Yeah, all of those things. Hanging out with Ryan on a podcast. I mean, there just isn't enough time in the day to have like the perfect day with all cram it full of stuff. Or I could just sleep. That would be a great day. Be a burrito for a day. Go to the spa.
Good
Someone could
Lord.
get a pedicure, a massage, and a facial, a haircut. Soak in the spa. I don't know.
Good Lord. So many different options, so much to do in so
Not
little
enough
time.
time.
That's the problem with this system, is that there's so much to do.
Yeah.
There's so little time. It's just and we're going to be saying that a lot later on this summer when one of the greatest comic book movies of all time, known as Tim Burton's Batman, turns the big 3-5 in the month of June here on And I Quote channel. Make sure you click on that bell to be notified of when that video goes live, because we're going to be celebrating its 35th anniversary, which will watch along. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And my co-hosts and I have looked over this, and we said to each other, when we celebrate Batman in June of 2024, I think it's just going to be a quote along, because no one's going to be able to really hear our commentary on the movie because we love it so hard.
Yeah.
We're just going to be quoting it the whole time. Laurie may be quoting it in the chat. I don't know.
Probably.
But, because that's where I heard the phrase, there's so much to do in so little time. Because the Joker says that to Bob when he's
get his wonderful toys.
And it's great. There are so many. The whole movie is just one great one-line. Honestly, it's so good. And by the way, congratulations to Michael Keaton for reprising so many of his roles 30 years later. He goes back to being Batman and the Flash. Now he's going back to being Beetlejuice and Beetlejuice Part 2, which is coming out later this year, I believe. So, Michael Keaton, dude, bro.
Amazing
30 years later, you're still killing it, man.
Yeah. The only reason people went to see the Flash movie was to see Michael Keaton.
Well, he did look pretty good in that suit for being in his 60s. So
the fight scene in the kitchen was amazing.
Well done. By the way, well done, Michael Keaton. Well done. That's all.
I don't know if he did his own stunts though, but it was still good.
Let's see. Glenn, is this a question or a comment? Glenn Fleming says, best day with regard to writing, seeing my first book on the shelf in the airport shops when I was heading out to Spain.
Oh, that's amazing.
Spain.
I would love that.
I would love to travel to Spain. I've never been overseas.
Glenn is one of the most interesting people on the planet. If
you think? He's been on the show twice.
He's been on I Quote twice. Okay, good. I was going to say,
actually,
if you haven't, I'm like, you're missing out. You need to have Glenn on your show.
No. He's been on our show 3 times. He's been on And I Quote twice, right, Glenn? Let me know. And then the third time was when we were doing a review of the documentary that he put out about Jack Kirby.
Yeah.
So, was it Jack Kirby? Yeah. So I think it was Words and Pictures. Remember that, Glenn? Am I right about that? Just correct me if I'm wrong. But anyway, outside of that, Poddex wants to know, if you had to delete all but three apps from your smartphone, which ones would you specifically keep?
Facebook, because I'm on that one all the time.
Really? I couldn't tell by the way you're blowing up my news feed every time I click on Facebook.
I mean, every time I run a campaign, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry, because you know that algorithm isn't pushing you into other people's pages until it's 2 days to 2 weeks later. So you got to just constantly be posting things. As soon as you don't have a cell phone.
How can you not have a cell phone in 2024? Wow. Glenn, he says, I don't have a cell phone. Glenn, I don't know how that's humanly possible. But hey, more power to you, because more people stick their head in a phone than they do their own than they do looking at other human beings and talking to them verbally. So I can see your point.
So Facebook
is one. You need to name 2 more.
Netflix. I got Netflix on there.
Oh, Cobra Kai.
I would probably keep Netflix over the other streaming apps.
Services?
I think I find the most things I watch are on Netflix.
Okay.
And then
including Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai is now on there. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It was just on YouTube Red for a while, but it's over there.
But now I think they moved it back, didn't they?
Really? I thought it was still on Netflix. Here's the thing: is like a lot of things will start on other streaming and still end up on Netflix. So if you only have one,
I think Cobra Kai is on Netflix permanently.
It is. Okay. But like some of the stuff that was just on Max is now on Netflix too.
Really?
Uh-huh.
I may have to go back on there and get this. Okay.
And then I'll keep one of my
What's the third one?
games. I'm going to keep Cat snack bar.
For a second there, I thought you were going to say Exploding Kittens.
No, I don't have an app for that. That is a great game though. If you've ever played Exploding Kittens, it's a blast.
I have. I've played it.
I have
By the
that
way,
one, and
I
have
played it
Llamas
twice.
versus Alpacas or something.
I played it twice and I won twice.
It's fun.
I'm 2-0,
Yeah.
by the way.
My kids love playing it. That one's easier to play than the Llamageddon. Llamageddon is another one.
Why would I want to play Llamageddon?
It's
weird.
fun.
I don't know.
But Exploding Kittens is great. But I have cat snack bar, which is a bunch of little cats, and you make them wait on customers, and there's different food places you unlock, and then you upgrade them. It's not hard. You don't have to think. You just zone out and push buttons. It's really great.
Wow.
Well, like you play the games that are like timed, and you stress out trying to like find all the stupid words because you run out of time, or you only have so many moves, and then you have to wait for it to reload and refresh and grow your moves. And cat snack bar, you could just sit there and check out, and that's what I need sometimes. It's like, because I'm so turned on, and I don't mean that in any other way than just like.
Yeah, I was gonna say that could be taken a couple of different ways.
I know. I don't mean it that way. I'm just like, I'm always working. You know what I mean? People are, again, I go on Carissa's show on Mondays, and they're like, we watch this movie and we watch this movie, we watch this movie. I'm like, y'all have time to watch movies?
And Laurie's just drawing a blank, thinking to herself, why did I even sign up to be here? Yeah. Honestly, because you're pulling a Brian O'Halloran.
I signed up to be on your show. You were booked far out. I couldn't believe you were booked out. Like, I think I booked this in January, didn't I?
Was it January or was it December before the holidays?
It might have been even then. So again, it's like I'm booking ahead of time, and I had no idea when I was going to Kickstarter. So I got around. I was like, I booked a show for the 23rd, and my campaign ends on Thursday. Why did I do that? But I'm like, it's Ryan's show. I'm going on anyway. I'll have a great time. So of course I'm here.
Well, thank you. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate the person who may be watching or listening to the insanity that is And I Quote with Laurie Calcaterra. Don't forget to like and share this with everyone you know. If you have any questions for or just outlandish comments that are in a good way, in the comments, in the chat. If you're watching this live or what is known as a replay, we thank you for being here. Now, this is going to get a little wild here because Poddex is curious. If you could undo one moment in your entire life, what would it be?
Undo a moment?
Yeah. If you had the time stone from the Infinity Gauntlet, what would you undo?
I can't say. It's too dark.
All right. Well, then we won't go there then. So here, how about this one? What was your first screen name on the interwebs?
Erudite 4.
Is that in reference to a video game, or you just came up with that off the top of your head?
I had no idea what to pick for a freaking screen name. Erudite means smart.
Oh, it does. Okay, because the way you pronounced it a second ago.
Erudite was already picked.
Okay, because the way you pronounced it earlier, I'm thinking, wait a minute, does that mean what I think it means, or is she going with a different direction?
Erudite, something like that.
Thank you.
Remember it, but it's I haven't used that. And then it was like Laurie's 310. And then that stuck for a long time, and now I don't have a screen name. It's just Laurie Calcaterra.
Yeah, nobody uses screen names anymore. Just use your real name, people.
Right.
This is a weird thing about social media. So there's an app that you can find. You can download it to your phone. I believe it's free. It's called Clubhouse. Half the time I'm on Clubhouse, there are people using different usernames, and then they have their real name in parentheses in their profile, which, listen, I'm glad that they do that. But at the same time, I wish their username would be their actual name and not something that says, NE6512. I'm like, no, I don't care what that. No, tell me your name, son. Give me a name. Like, in the words of Jack Bauer, give me a name. Like, just Jack Bauer. Okay. Jack Bauer asked people to give me the name. Just give me a name, not a number, not a letter, not a secret code word. Give me a name.
Like, is this a password for something? Like letters and numbers, and you have to have an exclamation point at the end. That's what
But here's the thing: passwords are different. I'm talking about people who I'm talking with online who have usernames. I'm like, don't give me a username. Give me your actual name. If your name is Brittany, call yourself Brittany. If your name is David, call yourself David. Don't be ashamed of it. And if your name is, like, I don't know. I mean, Carissa or Laurie, like, use those names because there's nothing wrong with it. Jeez, be comfortable with your names, people. Get over yourself. It's like
a new thing, you know what I mean? We all used to have usernames to protect our identities, but now it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't understand you. By the way, Lou agrees with me. I misunderstood the username also. Yeah, Lou, I was a bit confused there in the beginning, but now we got it under control. So By the way, Lou, we're fine. We're all fine here. No,
You all froze like, huh?
how are you? just
I was like,
asking.
you see why it's not a username for me anymore?
No, it's not. We use our real names, like Ryan is
Right,
this,
it's
and
just
Lori is that.
Laurie Calcaterra, Path of the Pale Rider. You find me under one of those.
And then
Pale
you can
Rider,
find
Path Pale Rider, something. I'm there.
exactly. Check out her book. I hear it's really cool. Path of the Pale Rider. Granted, I played the Choose Your Own Adventure, and I
Yeah.
died. Yeah, I died a few times on her show, which you can find
Poor Ryan.
on her YouTube on the YouTube channel. There's a playlist there, I'm sure, for your Tuesday morning brew. So.
Yes. We're at like episode 115.
Really, you got 115.
I think.
Congratulations, that's wonderful. I want to say congrats to you and all the guests you've had on that show, including you've had your sister a dozen times, so we can forget about that.
Carissa's the reigning champion of the Tuesday morning brew. I think she's at 15.
15. How many? Let me ask you this: how many times has Glenn Fleming been on there?
Once.
That's it. You need to get him back.
I know. We had a great time though, and he was showing off some of his great art and like
his artwork is very unique. It's very unique.
I found his YouTube channel with all the time lapses, and I was like, I'm sorry, I want to watch these right now. So I just like Tuesday morning brew. We're gonna watch some time lapse art. Great. And that's all we did. I was like, shh, quiet in the chat. Quiet. We're watching Glenn draw.
Yeah, Glenn Fleming is a distinguished gentleman and a scholar, so definitely have him back on Tuesday Morning Brew, which you can find links to when you follow Laurie, which is located in the description of this video. By the way, Quentin says, remember the movie Transformers in 2007 is a scene where Sam was interrogated by a Decepticon known as Barricade? Yeah, I remember that scene. Oh, you're talking about the username that he confronted him with. He says, "Are you user ladiesman217?"
Yeah.
I remember that. Dude, I remember that. That's one of my, you know what?
I do remember that. That's funny.
Here's the thing. I know those movies get railroaded and there's reasons why they're trash, but the first Transformers and then Dark of the Moon and then obviously Bumblebee are great. I haven't seen the new one yet. I haven't seen Rise of the Beasts, but it's on my list because I grew up watching Beast Wars as a kid in the 90s. So I'm curious how they integrated that into the story with, what is it, Optimus and Bumblebee and some of the other characters that were mentioned. So look forward to seeing it. I don't know when I'm going to see it, but
I think I saw the first 2 Transformers and then I was done.
You were done? Because they cleaned up their act in the third one with Dark of the Moon, because the second one was made during the writer's strike of 2006. So you may want to go back and revisit that. Not the second one. The second one's trash, but definitely watch Transformers Dark of the Moon.
Okay.
You might enjoy it.
So much stuff I would love to see and just don't have the time.
Yeah, you keep saying that, but listen, we all have 24 hours in a day. All you got to do is make the time. Make the time.
Or not sleep, which I already do.
Well, considering that you live in one of the bigger states in this country, and you got 2 3, how many Rugrats? 2 or 3?
2 children.
2 Rugrats roaming around dominating your life when they're screaming their heads off every 20 minutes. It's like, honey,
they're past the screaming their heads off page.
We need time to ourselves.
Nah, they're not quite there yet either. They're very like, Mom, what are you doing? I'm doing this. Okay. Can you unlock my iPad for me? No.
No, because you're not allowed to play with iPads at your age.
Like,
Get out of here.
You have an hour. That's all you get.
Ugh, geez. You haven't given them cell phones yet, have you?
No.
Please
No, they're
don't.
not. And they don't need one.
They don't need one.
The older one, she's 10, and she's like, "Can I have a cell phone?" I'm like, "For what?
What do you need it for?"
I could call people. I'm like, "Who are you calling?" She's like, "My
Ghostbusters, maybe?
friends." I'm like, "Nope."
I don't.
Sorry.
That's just. Don't give.
You don't need it.
Don't give children tablets or cell phones until they're much older, okay, folks? Put physical media known as books in their hands, okay? Don't give them a tablet. Don't give them, what are those things called? The Nooks or the Kindles? Don't give them any of that nonsense. Give them a physical copy of a book.
It's harder than you think because a lot of the kids have them. My kids have, one of them has a Fire and the other one has an iPad, but they're limited on their time, so they can't.
Which is good. That's good parenting. Keep it limited. That's good parenting.
You also have to teach them how to use that stuff appropriately, and part of that is having it, which, it's double-edged swords. You get the moments where they scream and they cry because they can't have it, but they have to learn the limits. But yeah, like they do read. They have quite a collection of books.
Physical books?
We've been reading before bed. We've been reading Harry Potter. We're all the way up to number 7.
There you go.
After that, we're doing the Benedict Society, the Mysterious Benedict Society.
Never heard of it.
It's really interesting. It's about a bunch of orphan kids. They go through a bunch of weird tests. They become this like spy group, and they're trying to infiltrate this school. where
Really?
they think the message is being broadcast. So the adults are all affected by something that they call the message that makes
Yeah.
them feel panicked or like everything is going wrong, and they can't put their thumb on it why they feel this way, but it's like the subliminal message that's being broadcast. But why and where? And the Benedict, I forget his first name, the guy that heads up the Benedict Society with these kids. He's
Sure.
like, it's coming from this school, so that's why he needs these children to go in and infiltrate and figure it out. So it's pretty cool. Um,
Wow.
we haven't gotten through the first one yet. So we read parts of it, and then we were already reading Harry Potter. So we
Which is
decided to
fine.
finish Harry Potter first.
That's fine. Well, I hope you enjoy the other series of books that are out there in the world.
Yeah.
So well done, because the basic thing we can tell you who may be watching or listening to this is all you gotta do is take a look. It's in a book. That's all you gotta do.
Reading Rainbow. You know, you can
Exactly.
find a dude that mimics Arnold Schwarzenegger's voice, and he sings Reading Rainbow as Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah.
What?
Do it.
Eh, do it. Do it. Come on, read the book. I'm here.
You know, book.
Yeah. Yeah. Read a book. I'm here. Come on,
Reading
do it now. Read me.
Rainbow.
By the way, Quentin says, "Why not read old school reprint Marvel or DC graphic novels?" Listen, I
Watching my
got a
children's.
short box that's full of nothing but Marvel and DC graphic novels, pal, because I started getting into reading comics about, what was it, 2017? How many years ago was that? 7 years. 7 years? 7. And it was
Yeah.
on Batman Day, 2017. My friends took me to a comic book store in our area, by the way. Support your local comic shops when you can.
Yes.
This one we went to, Lori, is called Third Eye Comics in Annapolis, Maryland. So we went to Third Eye. I walk in there. The manager takes one look at me and she says, "Hi, how are you today?" "I'm doing good. Have you been here before?" I said, "No." "Do you read comics?" I'm like, "I've never read one." She's like, "Well, what do you like to read? Like, what are your favorite characters? What are your favorite what are your favorite things?" Right? And I said, "Oh, I like this and I like that. And I like X-Men. I like Spider-Man. I like Batman because I grew up on the animated series when I was a kid, on Fox Kids, the greatest programming block in the history of American
Ever.
culture." And she says, "Come with me." So she takes me to the back of the store, and there's this, I believe they're called racks, right? Racks of books.
Mhm.
And it says, "New comic book readers. Read,
Ha,
read
that's hilarious.
and it says, "Read these." And I said, okay, I think there's a reason you brought me back here, isn't there? So I take a look, and I picked up DC's Flashpoint, DC's Kingdom Come, Marvel's Magneto House of M from
Yes.
X-Men. And then I read some others, and I read these. I bought them. I took them home, and I read them in the next few days, or whatever it was, weeks maybe. I don't know. I said to myself, if this is what comic books are, I want more of this. This is
Mhm.
great storytelling. I think
Yes,
this is brilliant characterizations. I think the artistry is, and by the way, Mark Waid and Alex Ross are two of the most biggest and fearsome names you can have in a comic book. So, by the way, DC's Kingdom Come is my favorite graphic novel of all time. All time. That's my number one. Fantastic. And we've actually had the pleasure of having Mark Waid on And I Quote in the past. So feel free to go
Cool.
back, watch that episode. Lori, that goes for you too. Carissa, I know you're watching somewhere on the Ethernet.
She's
Watch
not.
She's not, but watch it somewhere. And that was a lot of fun. So there you go.
Probably
Yeah, I've been
working.
a comic fan for 7 years. I still got a short box full of TBR comics. I know it's
Cool.
pretty sad and pathetic, but maybe one of these days I'll get to them. But outside of that, I want to say thank you to Laurie Calcaterra for being our guest on And I Quote. This has been
Yay.
educational, to say the least. So thank you, Laurie, for being here. If a person is watching or listening to this and then want to find out more about you and find copies of your books, where's the best place to find you?
So right now, where we're at, this lovely link that's scrolling across the bottom of the page or the screen, that is where you can still get copies of the trade paperback. It's in pre-order status. We will be printing in approximately 2 weeks. So if you would like to get your order in, now's the time. So that way, when we order them, you get one of the first prints, and you will get fulfilled the same time as everybody else in the pre-order and all of the Kickstarter people in that first batch. So that's where you can find the trade paperback. If you're looking for the floppies, you can order those from my website, which is just www.pathofthepalewriter.com. You can find me on all the socials. I'm on Facebook the most. I have a Facebook group for Path of the Pale Writer. You have to answer a question to get in, which is, do you like comic books? And I just want to keep the scammers out. But we have all sorts of fun in there and shenanigans. We're going to be voting shortly on how to murder a pineapple. Sorry, Ryan. But we're going to let people name this ill-fated pineapple, and then we're going to destroy it with a sledgehammer sword. baseball bat something, because that's part of the stretch goals of Path of the Pale Rider. So that's what's coming up there. I'm also on Twitter at Path Pale Rider. I'm on TikTok. It's at Path of the Pale Rider with a hyphen between all the stupid words. And Instagram is at Laurie Calcaterra. YouTube is at Laurie Calcaterra 360. I'm on all the things. So you can definitely find me if you just look very casually for Laurie Calcaterra or Path of the Pale Rider. You can also catch my podcast, Tuesday Morning Brew, Tuesdays, funnily, at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I interview people like Ryan and Glenn and all artists and writers and ventriloquists. Yes. All sorts of walks of creative life. And then on Wednesdays, I host a podcast called the Any One World Showcase, where I interview writers, creators from Any One World and ASAP Imagination, because there's a ton of them. So it's a great place for us to, like, as a family, get to know each other and give each other 15 minutes of fame, talk about what's going on. I play D&D on Fridays. In the Madness, I'm either in the Slaughterville campaign or the Heroes and Monsters, where I play Lola Martinez, undead resistance fighter from Path of the Pale Rider. Is that enough? Do you want more?
I mean,
I'm going to be at Carpe Diem April 13th in person with issues 1 through 4 available. That's in McKinney, Texas. That's a beautiful store. You should come support local comic book stores. And then after that, I'll be in a library, McKinney Library, in May. I'm going to be all over the place. You'll probably be sick of seeing me. I'm sorry.
Oh, please. That's impossible to be sick and tired of looking at Laurie Calcaterra and all the craziness that ensues with Path of the Pale Rider, which, once again, the links are located in the description of this episode. And Laurie, once again, thank you for being our guest. Be our guest. Be our guest. I'm going to be talking to you here in just a moment. My name is Ryan of And I Quote Channel. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, where not much craziness ensues, but it ensues with Laurie, Carissa, and all those other crazy folk over there that I don't want to talk about right now. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at RyanRPM5. Laurie, we love you. Honestly, we love you. It's all love here, folks. It's all love here. But RyanRPM5 is where you can follow me. Follow us on And I Quote Channel across all forms of social media. The links to where you can follow Laurie and myself are located in the description of this video, and she posted a link to her upcoming Kickstarter page in the comments here, so make sure you check that out. Follow along with that. Also, I want to let you know, little piece of news here. We have hit our milestone. We have reached over 1,000 subscribers on this very channel, and I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to everyone who made this possible, everyone who made it happen, all the people who worked with me when it was known as Nerd Culture in the beginning. Now we're known as And I Quote Channel, and it's been a lot of fun interviewing so many wonderful people, including Laurie Calcaterra, despite the fact that she's into horror movies and I'm not. I respect the genre, but I'm just not as big a fan as she is. But hey, it's not a competition here, pal. But I want to say thank you to everyone who has supported me and supported this channel over the years. We greatly appreciate everyone who supported us when we first started as a collective unit and as a team. We are going to be doing a live stream celebration coming up here in the next few weeks. I'm in the process of planning that. Once the plans are announced, we're going to put those out on our social media channels. So follow along with us. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we're also going to be doing special giveaways that you, our incredible fans / subscribers, are going to be able to win, which include 11x17 prints from our good friend, The Art of John Pinto, as well as some other things. Maybe we can convince Laurie or Carissa to put up some PDFs of maybe an issue or so of one of their comics or maybe one of their stories. I don't know. Laurie, you and I are going to have to talk about it in the green room and the coffee break room. Or Carissa, if you're watching this, which you never do, we'll have to talk to you as well. Or maybe we'll talk to Glenn. I don't know. Who knows? But if you want to support the show, we have a link, Buy Me a Coffee, in the description below. We like pizza because who doesn't like pizza, right, Laurie? Who doesn't like pizza? Link is in the bio. By the way, if you want merch, because I know you do, Laurie, I know you like wearing that hoodie of yours, but guess what? And I Quote Channel has hoodies as well. We have hoodies, we have shirts, we have stickers, we have coffee mugs, which some people like covfefe, as Brian K. Morris might say. So if you like that sort of thing, check out the links in our bio. All that stuff is there. This has been a great ride, and we're going to continue to do this. We got more episodes of And I Quote coming up this year. We got Movie Watch Along coming up. A lot of episodes are going to be being aired live this year. So once again, thank you to everyone who helped us reach this milestone of 1,000 subscribers. Again, like, comment, share, subscribe. Why is my thing being so weird? Talking about the mouse, not me. I may have a strange personality, but I'm still human, folks. I'm still human. I don't know about Carissa and Laurie, though. But once again, like, comment, share, subscribe. Ring that bell to be notified when our new videos go up or they go live. And remember, Life is better when supporting indie creators. Take a look.
Famous Faces and Funnies in Melbourne, Florida is leading the way in pop culture fun. From comic books and graphic novels to Funko Pops and collector's items, Famous Faces and Funnies has it all. Rick Shea and the professional team at Famous Faces and Funnies are friendly and knowledgeable. Whether you're looking for toys, props, collector treasures, or a new comic book, Famous Faces and Funnies is your one-stop shop. To find Famous Faces and Funnies on Facebook and Twitter, just type at FFF Comics. Author Cindy Kep is writing on the edge. Books include Remnant in the Stars, The Loudest Actions, Lines of Succession, Mindstorm, Condemned Courier, the Yerushalayim series, and Animal Eye. Find author Cindy Kep at CKOEPP.com today.
You've worked hard and written a great book. Now it's time to give it a great cover. If you're an indie author or small press publisher, Plasmafire Graphics is your source for affordable cover illustration and graphic design. Plasmafire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you.
Good morning! Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.